Hey, everybody. I'm so glad you're joining me today because this is going to be the last stream for a few days because we're going on vacation starting, really when we're done with all of today's stuff. We are on vacation until Monday, and it is not the last stream ever, but it is the last stream for a little bit. I have a bunch of different stuff that I want to show you today. Let me make sure I have everything pulled up here. We are standing by for Donald Trump giving a press conference. It's going to be alongside the president of Poland. And I have a little bit of video from their Oval Office meeting just a little while ago, and it was pretty damn chaotic. We're going to look at that in a little bit. But right now we're standing by for Trump, scheduled for the bottom of the hour, and we will see whether that happens or what time, if and when. It's always a question mark with Trump. I am glad that so many of you joined me yesterday for Donald Trump's Corona rally in a church in Phoenix, Arizona. Or was it Phoenix? It was in Arizona. And so many questions about it. I thought churches were supposed to be non-political, but they're hosting a Trump campaign event. That doesn't seem right. Does it make sense to have 3,000 people in a room with no masks when coronavirus is exploding in Arizona? The answer is, of course, it doesn't. So a lot of different things, including Trump again, not only Trump mentioning Kung Flu, but the crowd demanding Kung Flu. So we're going to get to all of that momentarily. Welcome if you're watching on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook. I have a little bit of David Pakman Show trivia for you today. Yesterday, June 23, 2020, we simultaneously had, on the same day, the most audio podcast downloads ever in the history of the David Pakman Show and the most Facebook video views ever in the history of the David Pakman Show. Both of those milestones happened yesterday, which is incredible, as Donald Trump would say. It was a real Giga Chad moment, as some of you would say. I want to say thanks to Deborah Spinner because she just grabbed a membership on my website and she's new member number 1 today. I see a few questions or comments coming in via Super Chat, and then we're going to get to some videos. Incredibo TV says, yo, just got my wife into your show during Trump's hate rally yesterday. Thanks for the great work, David. She'll be a member in no time. Yes. Also, Mr. Winklebottom says, have a great vacation. Hope you have a good time. Thank you. I am looking forward to it. So let's look at a couple of different things. Here is the meeting Trump had just minutes ago with the president from Poland, and you'll see it's just. Whoa, hold on a second.
Where we'll take some questions and make statements.
Here we go.
And it's an honor to have you here, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. It's a privilege and honor to be here with you in the White House as the first president of state after the lockdown at the end of the coronavirus epidemic. So thank you very much, and I hope this meeting will be the next step in our relations, and I hope that we will build together a stronger alliance.
They could really get a better mic on this guy.
Between Poland and the United States of America.
It's like between the shutter and being off mic. This is not great audio.
Great to be here. Great to have you.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody.
Mr. President.
Mr. President, how many U.S. troops will be sent to Poland?
Mr. President, how is it?
We're leaving.
Mr. President.
Oh my God, that is loud. It instantly gets extremely. This is like,
How does it feel to have the president do it
How many
here?
U.S. troops will be sent to Poland?
Press, let's go. Press, let's go. Thank you.
What did you say, Mr. President? How does it feel to have the first foreign leader since the
Press, let's
shutdown?
go. Caitlin, let's
everybody. I mean, they're trying to kick people. It's crazy what's going on.
go. Thank you. Let's exit. Thank you. Press.
Why did you decide now was a good time to have the first foreign leader since all the
I
shutdowns?
think it's a great honor, and frankly, Poland's a country we have
You can hear everything but the actual people you're supposed to hear.
this relationship with, and I have a very good personal relationship with the president. So this is the first after COVID, after the start of
COVID.
the plague, as I call it,
Yeah.
and it's an honor to have you here.
And do you think this is a mark of progress in the
I'm very
coronavirus?
happy about General Flynn. He was treated horribly. He was treated very,
Okay,
very
anyway,
horribly.
this entire thing is only 3 minutes, and as you can see, it's just a little bit of talking, and then there's more.
Have you
chaos.
spoken? Have you spoken to General
We're
Flynn?
done. Let's go.
Have Have you spoken to Flynn?
Mr.
Are
President,
you
will
gonna
you
call
move?
him?
Thank you.
This amount of screaming, I mean, it's like, there's always screaming surrounding Trump, chaos surrounding Trump. There's a helicopter going or people are yelling right in front of the it's always chaos. So I think we're done with that. Let me just see what's going on over here. Okay, they're not starting yet. So then yesterday at Trump's rally in Arizona, not only does Trump again refer to the coronavirus as the Kung flu, but the crowd is actually demanding it. And I think that the critique here is really as much about the people that like this stuff as it is about Trump, because Trump's just one guy. If calling this the Kung flu didn't resonate with anybody, Trump would have no shot, right? Like the reason Trump's president is stuff like calling this the Kung flu actually resonates with rooms full of people. You'll hear the crowd chanting Kung flu before Trump even mentions it.
Junk, California, off the record, California was saying, please, can we have the wall? This is California. You know, they didn't want the wall. They didn't want the wall. But they wanted the wall, right?
Yeah.
Because right next to San Diego is a wonderful town in Mexico. You know the town. I won't mention the name.
You won't mention
But they're heavily infected with COVID. Did you ever notice? I said the other night, did anybody see my speech the other night on Saturday night?
No.
So, what I said the other night, there's never been anything where they have so many names. I could give you 19 or 20 names for that, right? It's got all different names. Wuhan. Wuhan was
So now people start shouting Kung flu. They want him to say it.
catching on. Coronavirus, right? Kung flu, yeah. Kung flu.
Imagine in 10 years sitting around. I said this on our podcast today, which, by the way, you should be subscribed to. Imagine in 10 years, hey, remember that time we went to that Trump rally and he said Kung flu? Yeah, that was just so great. I was just so fired up when he said Kung flu. So the fact that there's a room full of people willing to cheer for that is a really big part of the problem. We should be as embarrassed by that as we are by the fact that we have a president who says this stuff. We also have a room full of people who cheers when Trump, remember? Right? They cheer that Trump drank water. They cheer that Trump says Kung flu. That's a huge part of the problem. It's the people. And obviously, you know that because more than 60-ish million people voted for this guy. And the problem is deeper than just Trump. I think that's very, very clear at this point. Chad Lightning says, thoughts on how to combat people saying, if you don't subscribe to narratives like all cops are bastards and others mixed in with Black Lives Matter, you're not for Black Lives Matter. I wouldn't even engage with people like that. Those are just bad faith arguments. And I don't, any arguments based on labels and et cetera, I think are just, I personally try to avoid engaging in that. It's just a waste of time. Thanks to FJE for subscribing. And also Ron says, can there be an alliance between the left and populist right? I think this notion only validates ideologies from Tucker Carlson and his ilk. Check out my video on this issue. Hold on a second. Let me see. Pakman, populism, social democracy. Yeah. So check out this video that I did a little while ago, not that long ago. It is called Social Democracy is Being Destroyed by, quote, Populism. It's about a month and a half old. When I do these, they never get a lot of views, but I feel like they're important videos to do. I address this issue in detail in that video clip. So I encourage you to check that out. And Jake says, can we all drink water two-handed in solidarity with you? Yeah, please do. I posted this, by the way, this morning. Somebody zoomed this in. This is from yesterday's stream. This was me drinking water during yesterday's stream. And as you can see, I'm also using this technique. Yep, there it is. So that's on my Twitter. Yeah, this is real life. This is on my Twitter account, dpacman. And as you can see there, I didn't pucker my lips as much as maybe other people do when they do this strat. I feel like if it weren't for the fact that I was born in Argentina, this is very, very presidential material right here. Okay, so there's that. Thank you. I want to say thank you very quickly to Vladimir Sarp, who has just subscribed on my website at joinpacman.com. Very much appreciated. And a huge thank you. Do you guys have any idea what's going on Twitch right now? There's a hype train. There's so many things happening. Clayton B has subscribed with Prime. Ask the Alligator has subscribed with Prime. Fat Clemenza has subscribed with Prime. And United Airlines 1337 has also subscribed with Prime. And it's all happening there. Syed Ahmad says, appreciate your commentary during these rallies and such. It makes watching these train wrecks worth it. Thank you. I very much appreciate that. Seth Barham says, hey, David, how can we convince right-wingers that the media isn't a monolith and there are reliable sources outside of their bubble, like Reuters and the Associated Press? I don't know. I don't even know that that's something I'd be talking about too much with right-wingers. It just, quite frankly, it seems like a waste of time. Let's focus on removing Trump. Then we'll talk to right-wingers about the media. You know, I don't know that I'd waste my time with that right now. Thanks to Deeper Shades of House, Ruski, and Kortik, all of whom have just subscribed over on Twitch. If you're wondering where those messages are coming from on the lower left of your screen, they are YouTube super chats, which are the $ at the bottom of the chat window, or if you're on mobile, I think it's an overlay on mobile. I'm an Android guy, so I don't know if it's different on Android than it is on iPhone. But in any case, it's all happening and it's all extremely exciting as we wait for Donald Trump at the bottom of the hour. I'm hopeful that Donald Trump will be asked questions about coronavirus. I'm hopeful he'll be asked questions about Kung Flu. I'm hopeful he'll be asked questions about testing and Michael Flynn. And I mean, there's just so much. And some of the questions may be what he would characterize as nasty, and that would only make it better. I hope that happens. Let me do a little bit on coronavirus, okay? There's something there's a talking point that we need to dispel. As you can see, increasingly, the states with the most cases, they're mostly red states, right? Like Texas, Arizona, Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee. Okay, New York was an early hotspot. Alabama, Pennsylvania was early, Mississippi. California is often pointed to by Republicans as an example of a blue state that's doing terribly. And indeed, California is having a lot of new cases. But you know how the right loves to say, Texas only has more cases because they're testing so much. Florida only have more cases because they're testing so much. It's not true with any of those states. It does seem to be true with California. So let me actually show you the data. Here's California. You can see yellow is the number of tests. The number of tests has been going up to nearly 100,000 tests a day, up from only 20,000. The blue line is the positive test rate. It's barely going up. In the last few days, it's gone up a little bit, but California has tested more and more, but their test positive rate has remained between 4.5% and 5.5%. This is actual evidence that a lot of California's numbers are because they are testing more, not because the infection rate is getting worse. Let's compare now, okay? If you look instead at Texas, Texas has been testing more sporadically. It's sort of up and down, but their positive test rate was around 4.5%, 5% in late May. It's now regularly as high as 10 or 11%. So when the Republicans say there's no problem in Texas, we're texting so much, right? They love to say that. Their positive test rate has doubled. In Arizona, look at this. The positive test rate in Arizona has gone from about 6.5% all the way up to 22%. So California, same positive test rate. Texas, doubled. Arizona, quadrupled positive test rate. Let's just do one more example. Florida. I mean, look at this. The positive test rate in Florida has gone from 2% to 13%, up more than 6x. So please be aware of this website. This is the Johns Hopkins University of Medicine Coronavirus Resource Center. When they say it's disastrous in California, California's positive test rate is very, very steady. How is Massachusetts doing, by the way? I know we're doing pretty well. Beautiful. Look at that. That's what we call a perfect curve. Trump tried to have a perfect phone call, failed. This is what I would call a beautiful curve. and I absolutely love it. So in any case, yeah, listen, it's a widely repeated but inaccurate, very, very inaccurate talking point. We shouldn't fall for it ever, 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 ever. We care about the data, we care about the data, not about lies that we hear from Donald Trump. So very, very important. Let me see what else I had here. I think we've gone through most of what I wanted to touch on before this starts. Yeah, I think so. Okay, let me look at a few of the super chats that are coming in. Oh, sorry, no. Kezi has subscribed on Twitch for 3 months in a row. Oh, and that's it. Okay. All right, nothing else going on there. Over on YouTube, a lot of questions coming in. Let's see. Deborah Pierce has subscribed. Marta Brewer says Polish presidential elections coming up on Sunday. Duda is playing a dangerous game, talking about LGBT ideology being worse than communism. Scary stuff. Yeah, I try not to comment on things I don't really know much about. And I've not been following much of Polish politics. So it's probably not, I leave it to the experts to comment on that. Breaker19 says, David, the argument on testing is a non-starter. Just ask why hospitalizations are going up. Are these people faking sick? Yeah, hospitalization is also a good metric to look at. And yeah, I completely agree. Full stop. Thanks to Across and KaleCon, both of whom just subscribed over on Twitch, which I very much appreciate. Somebody is saying that I sent them a cameo of me taking my shirt off. That is not true. The cameos are rolling in. I actually had a couple funny ones. A lot of people are this is actually pretty funny. A lot of people are asking me to do like inspirational sort of messages for people. And I'm not really an inspirational speaker. So like, let's look at one from today. This could be cringe. Let's just take a look. But I love that people are asking me to do stuff. Let's listen. Hey, Robbie, just want to say congratulations on graduating high school recently. You're going to JMU. JMU is great. I have a few friends that went there and had absolutely fantastic experiences. College is really what you make of it. It can be okay or it can be great depending on what. Can you imagine a more inspirational speech than this? Imagine getting if this. I hope this isn't a downer to the person that received this. You make of it. I think that's really important to keep in mind. Also, a lot of people right now that are feeling disappointed because of everything that's going on. This doesn't feel like the best time to be graduating high school, right, or starting college or whatever the case may be. I'm going to build them up. It's going to be different. It's going to be different. And in the short run, it might not feel as good, but I actually think that people who navigate, this is going to be tougher, right? Graduating high school and going to college now, Army reserves, all of this stuff. It's going to be tougher now than it normally would be. I think it'll just make people more resilient and anti-fragile. So right. I think in the long run, it's going to actually serve you really, really well. And right now, there's something very easy, even though things may not be great in a lot of ways. Just wearing a mask, any opportunity to wear a mask is something so small. Okay, so I threw that in because Robbie's dad said, also, please mention the importance of wearing a mask. I think Robbie and his dad are maybe at an impasse when it comes to this. From the standpoint of masks, they may be at an impasse. So anyway, I'm having fun doing these. I got about 20 requests and I've done all of them. I'm doing them usually within the hour because they just pop up on my phone. But yeah, Cameo got in touch with me last week and they said, we've been getting requests for you. Can you imagine people write to Cameo and they say, we really need David Pakman on your platform. But Cameo got in touch with me and I'm on there and we're having a grand old time. So that's something to think about. Let me say thank you to Martin Harisco, who is new member number 3 today at joinpakman.com. Very much appreciate that. Thank you so much for the support. Okay, other super chats coming in. Insane Lane says, have you been able to watch the fireworks in the DOJ hearing today, i.e. the banging? No, I don't know. I've been so busy with today's show today that I have not, I've not seen that. But it sounds wild. It certainly sounds very, very crazy. Thanks also to Johan Dagaru for the Prime subscription. Eddie G has subscribed with Prime. Future Lane and Bear Was Dead are also now supporting on Twitch, which is very, very exciting as we stand by for a press conference with Donald Trump, as well as the Polish president. I pronounce it Andre Duda. I don't know if it's actually Andre. There's a Z in there, which I'm not exactly sure whether it's silent or what the deal is. But I find it most reasonable to say Andre, and I don't know if that's accurate or not accurate. But be that as it is, oh, what's going on here? Let's see.
Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
It's a mic check. Okay, very good. Beautiful. Perfect microphone. Really, really great. This is good. It's just going to be a great. We're expecting nasty questions for sure. Let me mention very, very briefly. I think a lot of you will be very proud. I've been told, David, if you restrict the membership promos, you may actually get more people signing up. During yesterday's entire rally with Trump, I didn't do a single membership promo, and it was beautiful. And so today I'm only going to do one. Mostly we're supported by memberships on my website, joinpacman.com. Consider this a personal invitation. Go to joinpacman.com, grab a membership. I will thank every last one of you. 3 folks have signed up. We have a modest goal. I believe it's modest, of 25. It's a perfect goal, really. And you can, if you want, use the coupon code in blue text above my head, 2020 now. That'll chop 66% off of the price of a membership. Don't feel obligated, but it's available to you. It's not means tested. Everybody do whatever is best for them. The show is for everybody. We do the podcast for free. We do the YouTube clips. We do everything for free. We estimate about 0.5% of our audience has memberships. If we could get that to 1%, it would be a historic game changer, So consider yourselves invited, and I'll thank everybody who signs up during the stream. Javi Rodriguez says, does Trump have any chance of winning the popular vote? Yeah, he has a chance. But we've got to prevent him from doing it. Oh, I missed a couple of these. Per Tiren from Sweden says, have a beautiful breather to recharge the batteries, eat good, relax, and reflect. But what will happen to the strawberry plant? Yeah, so during my vacation, I am making arrangements to have my vegetable garden tended to and watered. And I think it's going to be fine. Jake says, do you know why the OAN reporter doesn't get a seat with the other reporters? I thought the yoga ball theory you had was hilarious. Yeah, I don't exactly know the full backstory on why the OAN reporter is not allowed a seat anymore. I think it has to do with the White House Correspondents Association. But I hypothesized last week or earlier this week, I don't know when it was, that maybe she would start bringing a blow-up ball, like a yoga ball, and sit on that. What else do we have? Alexander the Snivy says, I'm worried that a side effect of the Democrats retaking the White House will be that the media will be extra lax on Biden or his vice president's administration. I don't expect that. And to be perfectly frank, the analogy I've used is, if you imagine a football game, for the last 3.5 years, the other team has had the ball. So we're playing defense. When we get the ball, that's not the end of the game. If we get the ball, meaning Biden gets elected, that's when the game starts. That's when we go on offense. And that's the analogy. I mean, listen, I'll do everything I can to get Trump removed in November. And if Biden is inaugurated in January, that's when we now say, let's push this guy to be as progressive as possible. Under Trump, we're trying to stop bad things from happening. With Biden, that's when the game starts. It's the whole game. You can only score. Well, I mean, listen, I guess you can intercept the ball and then get a touchdown. Okay, so you can sort of score on defense. I think you understand there's also a safety, but we're getting very, very into the weeds here. The analogy is we start our game plan once we get the ball back. And that's my perspective, so to speak. If you're just joining me on YouTube, remember to like the stream and subscribe to my YouTube channel. We are on track. I hesitate to say this, but I think it's a pretty safe thing to say. June may be the best month we would have on YouTube from the standpoint of subscribers in a really, really, really long time. We're up to 865,000 on YouTube, which is unbelievable. We're approaching 40,000 followers on Twitch, which is just extraordinary. And it's just, I really appreciate everybody who's been supporting. Hold on a second. Is there anti-Semitism that we have to block? We may have, okay, yeah. Yeah, oh, the anti-Semitism is starting, okay. Moderators, please, the anti-Semitism is an insta-ban, okay? Don't worry about it. You're deputized to do insta-ban on anti-Semitism. Ben Williams says, my girlfriend told me she thinks she might be pregnant. Thank God I stole the pregnancy test from her purse. I could never afford a kid right now. Yeah, if you don't test for a baby, there's no baby. I mean, you can dramatically reduce the number of babies by dramatically reducing the number of pregnancy tests. Everybody knows that that's the way it works, right? I'm kidding, by the way, obviously. That's an analogy to Trump's coronavirus testing idea. Slow it down, then we won't have tests. Okay. Daniel Vlodiver says, how can we get money out of elections? The fundraising quotas for the debates, the fact that Bloomberg bought his way into the election is gross. I've got a lot of clips on campaign finance reform, and that is a big, big story. It's a huge, that we should do an hour on that. And I don't want to divert now because we will no doubt get interrupted. Daniel Bonilla says, is never Biden a Russia try to discourage the Dem vote? I don't care in the sense that it's a bad idea and I don't care where it came from. I'm not going to be supportive of it, period. I don't really know how else to say it. Okay, we have, oh, let me see here. Somebody said they had a problem on my website grabbing a membership. We've quadrupled the resources on the website. It should be working fine. Let me see here. Yeah, it seems to be working fine. It might just be user error, but everything does seem to be working absolutely beautifully on the website. Dak says, analysis of the Barr testimony highlights. I'm putting something together. I'll have something for you. Jamal Swift says, hey, homie, is this all real? It is unfortunately all too real, Jamal. Sadly. Breaker19 says, what happens if Biden dies between November and January? What happens? Let's, I'm not even going to get into that right now. Incredibo TV says, your daily reminder that school choice is the civil rights issue of our time. Yeah, that's the new thing from Donald Trump now, interjecting school choice in the midst of police protests against police brutality. Trump interjecting that really the civil rights issue of our time is school choice, which is code for take money from public schools, give it to private schools, which makes public schools function even worse because you're defunding them, which justifies taking even more money away from public schools. It's a vicious cycle that they just love. Let's see here. Rolika has just subscribed with Twitch Prime. Offskip has just subscribed with Prime. In 88 Fingers says, where is vacation? I am vacationing within the state of Massachusetts because I believe that's the safest thing to do. I don't want to say exactly where, but a beautiful, beautiful place. And I will be on the beach. I will be grilling. I'm going to be doing so many amazing things. It's going to be crazy. Also, thanks to I'm Inconsolable for gifting a subscription. I'm Inconsolable has now gifted 358 subscriptions. Is I'm Inconsolable the same as Turkey Bacon? Now I'm wondering if Turkey Bacon changed their username and is I'm Inconsolable. Huh. Because I thought Turkey Bacon had the most gifted subscriptions. That's interesting. We're going to have to look at that. Daniel Tesfaye says, is Michael Flynn above the law? In a sense. I mean, it's like he said he did the thing, and they're like, yeah, we don't really want to prosecute. Charlie says, a shame. Okay, I'm sorry, I don't know what that means. Eric says, I bet you won't spend your holiday in Europe. No, Americans are going to be banned from traveling to Europe. And, you know, the U.S. is such a huge country that if it were possible to block people from certain states from going to certain other states, like Massachusetts is thinking of, would it be possible to prevent Floridians from coming here? If you could do that, you could justify saying, well, Massachusetts is doing great. You should be able to fly from Boston to Paris, for example. But because ingress and egress from and to states is constitutionally enshrined and very difficult to stop, the entire country, everybody from the US is just going to be blocked from traveling to Europe. So there go my summer plans. That's true. Thanks to Lamey G for subscribing with Twitch Prime. I appreciate that. Let's see. Bads. Oh, there's Mike Pompeo. Oh, God, he's horrible. Oh, my God, he's disgusting. Bat says, shout out to the DGG watchers. Ave Caesar says, when are you and Michael Brooks going to team up? You demand, David? I don't know. That could be something to look at. We've got just a whole bunch of horrible, horrible Trump people coming out. I want to say thank you to Sheila Wyatt, who is new member number 4 today at joinpacman.com. Very much appreciate Sheila Wyatt subscribing. I want to say thank you to Chris Arnold, who is new member number 5 at joinpacman.com, and Andreas Boge, who is new member number 6 today. Wow, 6 at joinpacman.com. Very, very much appreciated, as it looks like we're getting pretty close to the start of this press conference with Donald Trump and the Polish president, Andrzej Duda, hoping that Donald Trump is asked a number of nasty questions. Luke says, don't forget to smash the like button, hiding behind the live chat, folks. This man is out here working hard for us. Thank you. I'm Inconsolable says, turkey, bacon, and cheese is I'm Inconsolable. Decided to go with something more vegetarian friendly. I love it. All right, here we go. Let's see what's going on.
Well, thank you very much, everyone. Please. Thank you. Beautiful day in the Rose Garden. And I want to thank everybody for being here with us. We all know what a wonderful country and a great country Poland is. And it's my honor to have a friend of mine here, President Duda of Poland, who has done an incredible job. And I do believe he has an election coming up, and I do believe he'll be very successful.
Okay.
So thank you very much, and all of your representatives, thank you very much for being here. This is the 3rd time that we've hosted President Duda. The First Lady and I also cherish our remarkable visit to Poland 3 years ago. That was an amazing event.
Trump has no
We had
memory
an
of it.
event because it was a speech, and a lot of people watched that speech. But it was a very historic
He got great
moment
marks.
and an important moment for our two countries. The American and Polish people enjoy one of the world's oldest, strongest, and most enduring friendships.
Thanks, Holly, by the way.
Polish patriots battled by our side to secure American independence. American and Polish warriors fought and died together to defeat the Nazis. In World War II, the United
Nazis.
States stood shoulder to shoulder with Poland in its courageous struggle against communist oppression. Our bond has been forged in battle, sealed in blood, and strengthened by our shared cultural values.
You can tell he really
The
means
United States and Poland are united by our firm conviction that Western civilization is advanced, really, and very much advanced. I think I have to add the cause of human progress beyond measure, and that it must be strongly defended and will at all times be strongly defended, and we will defend it together. In our meeting today, President Duda and I reaffirmed the vital alliance between our nations. Last year, we signed 2 joint declarations to increase our security collaboration, and we look forward to signing a defense cooperation agreement. Poland recently purchased 32 brand new state-of-the-art F-35 fighter jets, the best in the world.
military
And Poland is
industrial
one of
complex.
only 8 NATO members. The others, some of them haven't done so well in terms of what they're supposed to be paying to NATO. I tell them all the time, and we've gotten them up a lot, but not enough. But Poland is one of only 8 that is current with the money that they are supposed to be paying. That's the 2%. 2% is a very low number, but we have a large number of countries that haven't paid. They're delinquent, let's put it that way. They're delinquent with respect to their dues, the money they're supposed to be paying for defense. So the United States is defending a lot of countries that are delinquent on what they're supposed to be paying, and I never feel too good about that. But I will say I spoke with the Secretary General, and he said we've done a great job, but I said we haven't done good enough. We haven't done a good enough job. We have secured, though, over $400 billion in new pledged defense spending from NATO members, which is something that no other administration has come even close to. I would say they're off by many, many hundreds of billions of dollars, something the newspaper doesn't like writing about, that the media doesn't like talking about. But we will be only satisfied when all members are paying their fair share. Again, only 8 members plus the United States is paying what is considered a fair share. I also applaud Poland and the Polish people for its devotion to safeguarding their country's borders, very strong borders. And I just left our border, by the way. The wall is moving along rapidly, and our border is about as strong as it's ever been, our southern border. Last year, we were able to add Poland
The border's
to
as strong
the
as
visa.
it's ever been, and yet we're supposed to believe the virus is coming into southern states from Mexico. How could both be true?
It's a testament to Poland's vigilant efforts to uphold the rule of law. The United States and Poland have recently signed several long-term contracts for U.S. liquefied natural gas. They're a big purchaser of our energy to enhance Poland's energy security. And we're working to conclude an agreement that would facilitate Poland's development of nuclear energy plants throughout the purchase. They're going to be purchasing with one of our very big, very good companies, technology to do civilian nuclear energy. I want to congratulate Poland for its leadership in the 3 Seas initiative, a crucial energy partnership that will provide a reliable source of energy for Eastern Europe, and it will be free from the threat of foreign extortion. Poland understands foreign extortion very well. The
Total
3
word
Seas
salad,
initiative
yeah.
relies on fairness, transparency, and mutual benefit. Our nations have also collaborated on protecting our critical infrastructure and technology. That's why we've signed a 5G joint declaration, and Poland is leading the way in Europe by using trusted providers and provider equipment and supply chains for its 5G network, and we're working along with them, and they're using our companies. The United States and Poland cooperate across the truly wide range of fronts that we're both very much involved in. Here today is the head of a Polish medical team, very advanced team, very brilliant team,
An
fighting
advanced team.
coronavirus alongside of American doctors, Captain Shevera. Captain, thank you very much for being here, Captain.
Shevera.
And we're making great progress. I hear we're making great progress, and we're working together, but we are making great progress on therapeutics and vaccines.
He
Thank
has
you
no
very
idea
much.
what he's reading,
Appreciate
yeah.
you being here. The American and Polish people have been true friends and trusted partners for almost 250 years.
Right.
We're forever united by our shared belief in family, faith, law, liberty, democracy, and justice. As the old Polish motto goes, we will stand together in the name of God for our freedom and for yours.
Can you imagine?
President Duda, let me express once again our gratitude for your visit and friendship. We have had a very, very special relationship. Our alliance is powerful and a very powerful testament to what free people can achieve together.
Very strongly.
And I believe that the greatness of our relationship lies ahead. Thank you very much, President.
Wow.
Please. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Szanowni Państwo.
Ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost,
Oh my
I'd
God,
like
we can
to
barely hear a word of
thank
this.
Very warmly, I'd like to thank very warmly to President Donald Trump, to the President of the United States of America. Thank you very much for inviting me here to Washington, to the White House, to take part in this very important meeting to us. This meeting is important for many reasons. To me, as President of the Republic of Poland, this meeting is important because Poland is the first country after the coronavirus pandemic which has been invited to the meeting in the White House to discuss the most important matters concerning the future, concerning how the relations will look between the United States and Poland in terms of economy,
Yeah.
what those relations will be like in the military sphere, and what those relations will be like in the sphere of health protection, all those elements which are of key importance today. A very big part of our discussions today with Mr. President and our collaborators were dedicated to the
I feel
coronavirus.
like I'm hearing utensils clanging. Is it possible that the live interpreter is like in the kitchen or something? It's weird.
As concerns fight against the coronavirus, also in the United States. But first and foremost, we're also thinking about what measures to take in the future. But first and foremost, thank you so much, Mr. President, for your declaration that we are going to cooperate, that also our scientists are going to cooperate and collaborate on conducting research concerning the vaccine and therapy drug against coronavirus, everything that will be conducive to fighting the coronavirus. So I do believe that thanks to this
Go on.
collaboration, those therapeutical medicines will be available also for Poles, for my compatriots, as soon as possible. Thank you so much, President, for that, because all of us know very well how high level of medical research is in the United
Elements
States. And
of
this
medical.
declaration and the will of cooperation on part of the United States, on part of the President of the United States, is of crucial importance to us. So thank you very much for that. But ladies and gentlemen, we also discussed the cooperation in the sphere of economy and military. Let me first mention our economic cooperation. As the President has just mentioned, we are developing it both in the sphere of energy, in building energy security. Today we can say that the United States is cooperating in the sphere of creating energy security, not only the
Really dynamic
energy
event.
security of Poland, but also the energy security of Central Europe. The President has just mentioned the 3Cs initiative. Yes, all the investments that are being carried out in Poland today, the extension of the capacity of LNG terminal in Świnoujście, we're increasing its capacity by 2.5 billion cubic meters. We also plan to construct another LNG terminal in the port of Gdańsk. All of that is conducive to being able to receive LNG gas and provide its deliveries not only across Poland, but also for the countries of Central Europe. The vast majority
How great would it be if Trump pulled out his phone again and tweeted?
is still dependent on Russia, and creating a true alternative, in other words, diversification of supplies, is of key importance for their security. Thank you, Mr. President, for this cooperation. I do believe that we're going to further develop it. Today we have got those supplies guaranteed until 2023, by the end of 2023, but I know that we are also going to enter into further contracts in this respect. Even more so that
Trump's
for
so
sure
bored.
our demand is going to increase. But, ladies and gentlemen, we also discussed conventional energy and nuclear energy cooperation. In the nearest future, an agreement will be
People are
signed between
abandoning my
the
stream like
governments of the
crazy
United
thanks
States
to this.
of America and the Republic of Poland. And thanks to this agreement, we'll be able to start designing the large design of introducing conventional nuclear energy for the production of electricity in Poland. The entities which will participate in this project have already been selected.
world.
And the agreements are very advanced. On the Polish side, we have got Minister Piotr Naimski, who's in charge of those negotiations right now. An appropriate intergovernmental agreement is about to be concluded, finalized. We can expect that to happen in the near future. But, ladies and gentlemen, I also want to mention the contribution of the United States into the 3Cs initiative, and first and foremost, the financial contribution to the fund of the 3Cs initiative.
About 3 minutes ago, Trump heard "thank you" in his earpiece and nodded because he thought it was rapping, but it was only getting warmed up.
Thank you, Mr. President, for your activity, and thank
See,
you
he turns
for
every time you
appreciating
hear
this
"thank you."
cooperation, which takes place in Central Europe within the framework of the European Union. And the goal of this cooperation is to develop, to extend the infrastructure. Thank you for noticing the possibility of developing cooperation in the transatlantic zone between the countries of the European Union and the United States. And, of course, from my point of view, this cooperation with Poland,
Trump's just not built for this. Let's just all admit it.
we're speaking about increasing military cooperation between Poland and the United States. It is also of primary importance. I have no doubts whatsoever that this cooperation will lead to the strengthening of security
Some people seem to be joining the chat and think this is actually the voice of the president rather than the interpreter.
and foremost. From my perspective, it will strengthen the security of Poland. And it will also lend additional financial credibility to Poland, investment credibility on part of American investors. 1 month ago, a global company, Microsoft, announced that they're going to invest $1 billion in Poland to establish a state-of-the-art data center. And today, officially, Google company published the information that is also going to invest in the Center of Modern Technologies in Poland, including IT technologies. This is going to be an even greater investment than investment of Microsoft. So, Mr. President, I have no doubts whatsoever that these American investments and this additional investment impulse
Right.
that the American companies are making right now results from a very efficient policy that we are conducting together, and which increases the sense of safety
Right.
of our citizens in Poland, and it also increases the sense of safe investments in our country. Thank you so much for that, because that means the creation of new
he turned on
jobs
thank you
in
again.
the state-of-the-art branch of industry, IT.
Trump listens for thank you as a rap. That's why he snap turns every time he hears it.
Large number of excellent young IT experts, also young IT engineers, and for sure, we're able to come to terms with these very serious challenges, also as far as the intellectual capital is concerned. And I'm sure
Right.
that these investments are going to be beneficial for the United States, for the U.S. companies, and also for Poland through creating jobs, through acquiring new experiences by young people in the first place, by young engineers. I'm also glad, Mr. President, because, as we said before, the agreements that we entered into concerning increased U.S. military presence in Poland, the agreements we signed last year, and according to the first one, the U.S. forces are going to be increased by 1,000 troops in our country, and another
So you guys think Trump will take questions or that he's going to bail without taking them? What do people think?
will be stationed in Poland on a rotational basis, but also it's going to be a heel-to-toe rotation. Today, we are entering another stage. Namely, there is a possibility
Bail.
of further increase in American troops in our country. In recent days, I also talked to Secretary General of NATO. I talked to Mr. Jens Stoltenberg, and we agreed on one point. Especially as Europeans, we have no doubts whatsoever that if any part of the U.S. armed forces, which is the biggest armed forces in the world, was withdrawn from Europe, that would be very detrimental
This guy
to
wants
European
troops in Europe.
security.
Got it.
So, in our belief, it is deeply justified to ensure that the U.S. troops are left in Europe. So, Mr. President, thank you so much for this meeting today. Thank you so much
There's the snap turn on thank you.
for accepting Poland during this meeting at the White House. So we are the first country which has been received after this long break in international diplomacy. Thank you for your words about our pride and heroism of Poles over history. Today, Polish soldiers stand arm in arm with U.S. Soldiers. We are tested allies. Together we spilled blood in Iraq and Afghanistan, and we stand ready, always ready, to implement our allied obligations.
I'm finding this really inspirational. I don't know about you guys.
States, thanks to your policy, Mr. President, is demonstrating itself as an absolutely loyal ally to us, and thank you that we can count on the United States. Also, I'd like to say that I'm grateful, Mr. President, that you have been stressing historical truths in such a decisive way. This is extremely important to us Poles. Fighting disinformation,
you guys heard,
defending historical truth, also about the Second World War, about who started the war, about the course of the war, is incredibly important to us. And thank you, Mr. President, that you are adopting this stance and contributing so much to putting the record straight. It's important also to us from the point of view of our dignity. The Second World War was a period of great drama and trauma in the history of our nation. We lost 5 million citizens, and that was a tragedy to us.
Will he mention Jews?
So because of that, it is
Why not? These
important
guys are right-wing
to
now.
spread this truth, to present it as it really was. But it's also important to speak about the heroism of Poles, wherever they were fighting, wherever they were spilling their blood, arm in arm with their allies at Monte Cassino, at Tobruk, and at other places all over the world, both on the Eastern Front and on the Western Front. All of that, saying
there's
that
nothing when foreign leaders come to the White House, it's common that there's an interpreter. These events are so common, but something about Trump as an element of this, just so bored, clearly not knowing what's going on, snap turning every time thank you comes through it. Like, something about this is completely wacky.
towards the development of our countries, towards the development of our societies, towards the building of a better, more prosperous future, both for the United States, for Poland, and for Europe. Thank you so much.
Wow.
We'll ask one to me and one to the president, and that would be great. Steve Holland, go
He's
ahead.
taking him. Oh my God, the mics. We can't hear the reporter. This is horrible.
Poland, would you send them from Germany And what sort of signal would that send to Russia? And for President Duda, how do you feel about this, taking some troops out of Germany to go to Poland, and what signal does that send to Russia? Thank you.
Well, just to start, as you know, Poland is, as I've said many times, Poland is one of the few countries that are fulfilling their obligations
levels are
under
crazy.
NATO, in particular their monetary obligations. And they asked us if we would send some additional troops. They're going to pay for that. They'll be paying for the sending of additional troops, and we'll probably be moving them from Germany to Poland. We're going to be reducing Germany very substantially down to about 25,000 troops. We actually had 52,000, but we'll be moving it down.
We're going to only have 25,000 troops in Germany.
A very small fraction of what they're supposed to be paying. They should be paying 2%, and they're paying a little bit more than 1%, depending on how you calculate. You could also calculate that they're paying less than 1%, but if you assume they're paying 1%, that's a tremendous delinquency. Let's use that word, delinquency. So we're going to be reducing our forces in Germany. Some will be coming home and some will be going to other places, but Poland would be one of those other places in Europe.
Would send to Russia by doing this?
I think it sends a very strong signal to Russia, but I think a stronger signal sent to Russia is the fact that Germany is paying Russia billions of dollars to purchase energy from Russia and through the pipeline. And I'm saying, what's that all about? You're spending billions of dollars to Russia, then we're supposed to defend you from Russia. So I think it's a very bad, I think the people of Germany are very unhappy about it. I have many friends from Germany, and the people in Germany are very unhappy about it. They don't like it, but that's what they chose to do. So they're spending billions of dollars to buy Russian energy, and then we're supposed to defend them from Russia. So that doesn't work too well. But Poland has been very, very terrific. In fact, I don't believe Poland is actually accepting any of the energy from the pipeline from Russia. So that sends a signal right there. With all of that being said, we expect to get along with Russia. We expect to get along with everybody.
We know.
But Germany has, they really owe a lot of money in NATO, and this has been going on for many years. When you add it all up, you're probably getting close to $1 trillion. And that's not treating NATO fairly, but it really isn't treating the United States fairly. You know, the United States is the major participant in NATO. We pay more than anybody else by far, have for many, many years. So we defend Europe, but Europe also takes tremendous advantage of the United States on trade. Advantage like you wouldn't believe.
Definitely.
So we're trying to work that out, and I would imagine they'd like to wait till after the election.
Imagine being the president of the U.S. and seeing us as the constant, perpetual victims in everything.
More, but that's the way it is. Okay, thank you very much, please.
Sir, first of all.
Oh my God.
I do respect very much both Mr. President Donald Trump and the United States of America, a wonderful, great state which today is the largest military and economic superpower in the world. And I wouldn't dare say to the President of the United States of America where he should send his soldiers, because this is the decision which is always taken by the United States. This is a very responsible decision.
Yeah.
However, I do not deny that I requested, Mr. President, that he would not withdraw U.S. forces from Europe, because the security of Europe is very important to me. From Europe as such, I'm talking about the United Europe, for which the American presence since the end of the Second World War is a huge security guarantee. However, if I'm asked by anybody if I am ready that Poland receives more U.S. troops in our country, of course I am ready. In 2014, Russia attacked Ukraine. It annexed Crimea. It occupies Lugansk and Donetsk. Before that, it had attacked Georgia. 2014 was a year of huge fears in the Baltic states, and very big ones, very considerable ones among the Polish society. Today, the presence of NATO troops and first and foremost of U.S. troops in Poland demonstrates that Article 5 of the North Atlantic Treaty is treated seriously. And it shows that if anyone wanted to attack Poland, it won't be a soft landing for that entity. That won't pay off. for such an aggressor, because the strongest army of the world is present, and they would help Polish soldiers to defend our borders if such a case arises. 100 years ago, we repelled Russians from Warsaw. In a great battle in 1920, we defeated the Seventh Army Bolsheviks, and we drew them back to the east. That was a great victory, but we managed to stop them only very near to Warsaw, at the outskirts of our capital city. We would never want to see the situation repeated again. That is why the Allied presence is crucially important to us today, and it is a very important security guarantee to us. So I'm very pleased that both within NATO as well as in the United States, and today the President of the United States understands the history of Europe, and he understands the realities in Europe.
He doesn't understand or know
and
the
that he also
history,
understands the situation as it is developing in Europe. So today, this generates peace to my country. It brings security, and thanks to that, Russian, unfortunately, very strong imperial ambitions, which have been revived over the last tens of years, I can say, because Georgia was attacked in 2008. Thanks to this, those ambitions have been stopped for the time being, at least in this part of the world. And I have no doubt whatsoever that this is also a huge merit of the policy of the United States. I'm grateful for that, just like all my compatriots are.
I want to add 2014, which the president was talking of. That was a year where Russia had a good time with the United States. To the best of my knowledge, President Obama and Sleepy Joe Biden, they were in power.
You knew this
they were
was
the
coming.
ones that were doing it. This was before us. Hasn't happened with us, and it won't happen with us either.
No.
Please go ahead.
Pan redaktor Marcin Wrona, bardzo.
Marcin Wrona.
President, you had to cancel your last trip, your last visit to Poland because of the hurricane. Are you planning a new visit to Poland in the near future? And the second question is on COVID. Is there a chance for Poland to participate in the development and early access, both to the vaccine and to the therapeutics? Panie prezydencie, czy jest szansa na to, że podczas tej współpracy...
I mean, who knows if we're even going to be the people who first have the vaccine, right? I mean, that's a question mark still as well.
Get and fast access both to the vaccine as well as to concrete drugs against coronavirus.
And we'd like to do it again as soon as we can. We have an election happening in this country, as you probably have heard. And so I probably won't be able to do it until after the election. But assuming things go well, the answer is a very definite yes, actually. As far as the joining with us on the vaccines and therapeutics, by the way, because the therapeutics to me, if you gave me a choice right now, probably therapeutically, maybe I'd like that even better, but we're working very well on both. I think we're coming up with some great answers. I think you're going to have a big surprise, a beautiful surprise, sooner than anybody would think. But the answer is yes, we will be getting Poland involved, both in terms of helping, but also in terms of taking care of the Polish people.
It's not happening.
Once we have the vaccine, but I think we're going to have it very soon. Okay? Thank you.
Panie redaktorze,
Sir, we got involved as a state in the cooperation and also in supporting allies, be it in a symbolic dimension of the United States
This
in
is
the fight
Pompeo
against
here, right?
coronavirus. That is why we have here with us today a captain medical doctor from Poland. I want to say, yes, of course, I'm working on this obvious assumption that by taking part in the research and also by being, in a certain sense, co-creators of the vaccines and therapeutics, Poles will be able to count on these vaccines and therapeutics to be available for the Poles as soon as possible. So speaking openly, this is also the intention I have in my cooperation with the United States of America to make sure that these vaccines are available to Poles and to other nations wherever they will be applied as soon as possible.
Okay. Thank you very much. John, please.
This afternoon, the bill on reform in the Senate failed to move forward. It may still see the light of day at some point, but at the moment it's stalled in the Senate. As well, you have an executive order that is coming out later on this week regarding monuments, and what to do about people who deface or damage these monuments. Could you tell us what you're planning to do in the executive order and your reaction to what happened in the Senate?
Well, the Senate Republicans want very much to pass a bill on police reform. We have total cooperation with many different communities, including the police community.
Yeah, what the Republicans put forward was a laughable dead-on-arrival joke.
They agreed to that they would like to agree to, and they would love to have it agreed to formally. The Democrats don't want to do it because they want to weaken our police. They want to take away immunity. They want to do other things that you know about as well as anybody in this beautiful field that we sit. They want to take away a lot of the strength from our police and from law enforcement generally, and we can't live with that. We can't live with that. This is a great bill,
Right.
strongly endorsed by, as you know, Tim Scott, who's terrific.
That's who I go
who's
to
a
when I have
terrific
questions.
man, great senator, South Carolina, and Mitch wants it.
Just so people don't miss this point, Tim Scott is a black Republican senator. So when Trump says Tim Scott endorsed it, Trump's saying, I found a black guy to bless going forward with this disastrous bill.
This year, the best. And you hear about certain places like Chicago, and you hear about what's going on in Detroit and other cities, all Democrat run. Every one of them's Democrat run. 20 out of 20. The 20 worst, the 20 most dangerous are Democrat run.
Yeah.
We have
The 20 richest cities also, right? I mean, it's like cities tend to be run by Democrats. Urban areas tend to be more Democratic.
worse than Afghanistan, and these are cities within the United States, Democrat run, radical left run. You see what's going on in Seattle. You see what's going on in other places. Seattle, of all places, who would even think that's possible?
Imagine interpreting this for the Polish president, and he's sitting there going, what the hell is this guy talking about?
And frankly, they want to defund largely, at least largely. There are some that want to defund and abolish our
Right.
police, if you can believe that. And we're not letting that happen. So if nothing happens with it, it's one of those things. We have different philosophies. They want open borders. They want sanctuary cities.
Nobody
don't.
wants open borders.
As far as your second question, I think that we're going to have a very strong executive order, but we already have we have the Monuments Act already, which means 10 years in jail. But I think we're going to consolidate various things. We're going to come out with a very strong executive order, and I should have that by the end of the week, which is fast approaching. We're going to have it very powerful statement. We've arrested numerous people, as you know, for what took place outside of Washington. In addition, the FBI is investigating hundreds of people throughout the country for what they've done to monuments, statues, and even buildings. So we have very strong laws already on the books. I mean, we have a law that's 10 years. It's 10 years. That's a long time to have fun one night. I think many of the people that are knocking down these statues don't even have any idea what the statue is, what it means, who it is. When they knock down...
It's not clear a lot of the people defending the statues have any idea what they represent either.
Look at certain... Now they're looking at Jesus Christ. They're looking at George Washington. They're looking at Abraham Lincoln, Thomas Jefferson. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Not as long as I'm here. As far as Democrats are concerned, I think they could care less whether or not it happens.
Couldn't care less is the way the phrase actually
I think the
works.
American people get it. So we're going to have a very strong executive order, and it'll happen very quickly before the end of the week.
The sirens are a nice touch.
We have an election coming up in November. You have an election coming up on Sunday. Some of your critics who are politicians here in the United States have criticized this visit to the White House, saying it is tantamount to election interference because it shows a very close relationship between the United States and Poland at a time when you really need it. What do you say to those critics? And Mr. President, feel free to weigh in if you want to.
Szanowny panie, przede wszystkim...
Sir, first of all, let me also follow up on the question that you asked to President Donald Trump. I would like to thank you, Mr. President, because, among others, not a long time ago, the monument to General Tadeusz Kościuszko was devastated. That was the national hero of Poland, but also the national hero of the United States, who was fighting for the independence of the United States. He had great merits. He was also the commander of a Polish uprising where he was fighting for the independence of Poland. He suffered heavy wounds.
These are not exactly the guys I would go to if I want to learn the history of civil rights in Poland and the United States.
was devastated recently, and thank you so much that it has been renewed so fast, and that made it possible for me to lay flowers at that monument and pay tribute to the great soldier and a great commander. Thank you for that. That was outrageous for a big number of Polish people back in Poland, all of them probably, and for many, many Polish people living here also in the United States. Polish organizations here in the United States asked me and told me that they would renew that monument. I know that it has already been renewed by the United States. No assistance was needed, so I'm very grateful for that here the monument to Tadeusz Kościuszko stands near the White House, and he looks as he should look. Which he has
Sounds like a
deserved for the
gunshot in the
merits he laid for the United States and for Poland. So thank you very much for that, Mr. President. And answering to your question, 2 months ago, at the very beginning of the pandemic of coronavirus, we had a lengthy conversation with President Donald Trump. The pandemic disrupted the plans of our cooperation, which we had. And back then, we made an arrangement with Mr. President that we would meet as soon as it would be possible. And this has been implemented. And the fact that this arrangement has been put into force is demonstrated by the visit today. I'm very grateful to Mr. President for inviting me here today. And together with Mr. President, we are implementing our presidential duties. The president is always in charge of his national interests. And this is the task of the president. When the president is acting in the international sphere, this is my sense, but I also know that also it is a very strong belief of President Donald Trump. The president is supposed to realize the interest of their country. So Mr. President Trump is realizing the interest of his own country, and I'm realizing the interest of Poland. So we are looking for a win-win situation where both parties are the winners, where both parties are able to implement their interests as part of the cooperation which we're implementing. This is the way we act, and in this very moment we're acting on a national level, on the state level. We are just fulfilling our obligations and duties as presidents of our countries, as those who are representing our nations and who want our societies to have as good lives as possible. Thank you very much.
Doing very well in Poland. He's doing a terrific job. The people of Poland think the world of him. And by the way, Mrs. Duda, who's a terrific woman who we've gotten to know also through our various travels and meetings. But they think the world of him, and I don't think he needs my help. I'm honored that this is a day that's, I guess, just before your election. I'm honored, but
the audio is just disastrous.
He will do very well with or without us. He's going to have a great success, and Poland is going to continue on. They're doing incredibly well as a country. Okay, please.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Mr.
you.
President. Best regards to Madame Melania,
Thank
to
you.
your wife. Pan redaktor, bardzo proszę, Telewizja Polska.
Oh my goodness.
Polish television. Good morning, Rafał Stańczyk, Polish television.
I want to ask about timing of that visit. President Andrzej Duda is the first president, the first international guest in the White House since the lockdown. And today there was a big military parade in Moscow. Can we combine those two facts? Is it kind of proof that that Poland is an important partner for America? Can we treat it that we can rely on America in Poland? Thank you.
Well, I think you can, and we also are working with Russia right now on an arms treaty, which is a very big thing.
Oh my goodness.
Nuclear arms specifically, but we're working very much, and I think I can say,
What are we
Mike, we're
learning
doing
here?
very well on that. We're two countries that want to see it happen, and we're working on other things with Russia. We have a very good relationship. We have our ambassador over there right now who'll be attending certain festivities, and that's a good thing, and I think that's frankly a good thing for Poland also. Likewise, we're going to be having very important dignitaries at your parade. You're going to be having a very big event soon, and we're going to be, I guess, in August, and we're going to have people representing the United States at a very high level, and that's very important to us also. Okay? Please.
Panie redaktor.
Sir, I have this feeling and sense that I'm conducting negotiations in Polish matters here in a very experienced and very tough politician, a tough player, I can say, that is President Donald Trump, who is standing strongly and looking to the interest of his country and his citizens. What I'm doing here is I'm representing Polish interests here, and I'm not parading in Moscow. That is all. Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much. We will see you soon. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And the sirens continue to rage. Oh my God. What a pathetic event. What can we even say, my friends? What can we even say? Unbelievable. All right, that's going to do it for me. We are off the next couple of days, so I will likely next talk to everybody on Monday. Remember, if you're watching on Twitch, just give us that free follow. It costs nothing. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Give us a like on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter. I'll be back with everybody very, very soon. Trust me on that one.